Good morning, it's Brandon Mulrennan. It's Friday, and we're going to answer another question that we got about what's happening here in real estate in Southeast Michigan. So, question this week comes from Dan in Rochester Hills. Appreciate the question, Dan. And Dan's question is, what are some questions that I can ask an agent when looking to sell my home? So, when you interview an agent, what kind of questions can you ask? So, Dan, great question, and here are a couple things for you to think about. And I wrote a few things down. So number one, you've got to find out what the agent's going to do proactively to find you a buyer. Okay? There's too many people, there's too many agents out there that are just putting the sign in the front yard, putting your home on the MLS, and just wishing that someone else sells their listing. Well, guess what? That's the reason why there's so many people selling for sale by owner, because agents don't provide any value. So anybody can put a house in the MLS. Heck, the seller, you can put your own house on the MLS and put your own sign in the front yard, because that's what most listing agents do. And the problem with that is it doesn't provide any value, it doesn't do anything different, it doesn't proactively go out there and find anybody at all. So number one, make sure that they have a proactive approach to actually finding a buyer other than the MLS and other than a sign. Okay. Number two, what happens? What happens if you, the seller, what happens if you find the buyer? So another question you might want to ask your agent is, hey, what happens if I find the buyer? And hopefully the answer is you won't owe us any commission. Too many times we hear, that the seller actually found the buyer, and the agent still wants to get paid. You're hiring the agent to sell your house. So if you sell your house, why in the world would you pay your real estate agent? So make sure that there is something in the listing agreement that states, if I find the buyer, that I owe no commission. Okay? Number three, what happens if I change my mind while I'm listed with you and I want to take it off the market? I'm not happy with your service. You're not communicating with me, because we all know the number one complaint in real estate is when an agent puts the sign in the front yard and lists the property, they never call you again. So, what types of things does that agent have in place to make sure that you're not handcuffed to a 6-month listing contract? Okay, so we want to make sure that they've got some kind of process or system in place to get you out of the contract if you're not happy. Okay, it's just not fair to be locked down to a 6-month contract and the agent's not calling you back, not giving you good service, not doing the things that they said that they were going to do from a marketing perspective. So make sure that if you sign up with an agent, that you're not locked down for 6 months. Okay, makes sense? And the last one, what happens if the agent does not sell your home? Okay, the second biggest problem in our industry is there is zero accountability on the agent standpoint, because the seller really takes all the risk in this relationship. They're going to trust that you're going to sell their house, or the agent's going to sell your house. Well, what happens if they don't? So you've got to have that conversation with the agent to say, well, what type of an accountability system do you have to ensure me that you're going to sell my house? And what happens if you don't? So, you want to make sure that they've got something in place. So, Dan, I hope that helps. If you guys have other questions, just subscribe to our YouTube channel, Brandon Mulrennan TV, and we'll come to you next week on Friday with another question. Hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.